you damn right. It is house divided, and what a difference a day makes, Texas fans. 24 little hours, but there's nothing little about the reason Longhorn fans maybe a little more excited today than they were yesterday. Happy Friday. Jeff Ketchum is taking time off. He's technically on vacation.
Is he really on vacation, Chad? I still see it. He still hit me up at Teams saying like, "Hey man, don't forget what on the."
I know.
I was just like, I want to write it back and say, "Dude, go on vacation, brother."
I know.
Yeah.
But he asked. He had some feelings about this Longhorn flip that happened yesterday, so he's going to jump in with us here at about 10 after the hour, about 12:10. Jeff Ketchum will jump in. I'm Chad Hastings, and that guy right there is Alex Dunlap of Orange Bloods. You've already seen him on the Old Fashioned today, and we should probably mention that starting on Monday, you're going to see him in his natural habitat. 6 o'clock, football with friends, let you get done with your day, let you deal with the kids and get dinner started. Football with friends is going to hit you every day at 6. Alex, how pumped are you? Are you ready to roll?
Yeah, man. Me and Cody are gonna be doing it, dude. It's gonna be fun. It's football with friends is fun as hell, man. It always has been, always will be. We're gonna talk a lot about the Longhorns. I think that anybody that watched last year knows that it's a pretty densely packed show with information, but we also have a ton of fun with it. We like to now that Texas is in the SEC, it kind of opens up a whole new world of stuff too, man. I can't wait to kind of have this first year and what I'm just calling our conference, man, because it's our conference now, and it is it's just such an awesome conference. I don't know about you, Chad, but coming out of SEC Media Days, it really opened my eyes to what a different kind of organization this is, what a different kind of culture it is within this conference. So just a whole lot of SEC focused stuff. And then of course it's going to be fantasy football season. So a lot of fantasy football talk, NFL draft. It's just a bunch of football, man. We'll talk a little bit of hunting and fishing and food and stuff too. So make sure you tune in, man. It's going to be great at an all new time at 6 p.m.
Alex, I was really excited about your reaction and Anwar's reaction to all the SEC stuff. I kept telling y'all in Dallas, man, it's not just my crazy people in College Station. There's a whole lot of those SEC folks that are hook, line, and sinker. And now you guys are one of us. One of us.
Yeah, I just push the chips all in, dude. I'm just it's great. You even notice it with the media, right? Whenever the media is there and they're talking, it can be a media member from a different school, right? It's a Georgia media guy or some, stand up. I'm from 97.9 The Zone in Huntsville, Alabama, and but he has a question for the Florida coach about well, whenever I look at your schedule, I see this, and you're gonna it's like everybody's in each other's business, dude. It's a very, very maniacal bunch, and I'm so happy that Texas is part of it, and honestly, happy to be. It's just, man, whenever you cover Texas, or for me, like when I went to Texas, and I'm sure that you felt this way going to A&M, Chad, during the time that you did. It's not as fun to be a fan of a program or an analyst covering a program whenever the other schools in your conference are schools like Iowa State and Kansas. Right. Those aren't fun football teams to watch or to follow. The coach, I mean, I guess some of the coaches can have fun personalities, but it's not the ones who you see all the time on Sports Center, or it's every one of these programs has a diabolical, maniacal, fanatical type of following, and just it's super cool that Texas fans and Texas analysts and people who cover the program get to be sort of just like re-engaged with a new kind of home group. It's gonna be so much fun to cover and see unfold.
Speaking of fun, if you're a Longhorn football fan and you missed what happened yesterday, lots of fun going on. It wasn't just about the pool party as a whole. We talked about some of those guys going to the pool party, and after we got done with the show, somebody showed up at the pool party that I don't think was on that original list, and then all of a sudden it went from that to a flip for Texas. Josiah Sharma flip from Oregon to Texas yesterday. Big D tackle. We'll get Alex's thoughts on him. We'll get Ketch's thoughts. You give us your thoughts. But Alex, check out who jumped into the chat before we even got started. Look, I'm going to just take him at his word. This might be the guy. Kenny Baker says, now what? Now we go. Coach, if that's you, welcome in. If you're not coach, welcome in. But
we'll take him either way.
Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. Everybody's piling into the Specs chat right now. Alex, the way I thought about Sharma and today's show is there are things that grow on trees, but 6'6", 300 at the D tackle position is not one of those things. It is a rarity. And I went and back and watched the film this morning. This is a unique player. Give me your thoughts on him and how big a deal you think this is for Texas.
Well, it's a big deal just from a personnel standpoint, right? We if you've watched this channel for any period of time or heard any of us talk, you understand that the interior defensive line has been, it's all the narratives, right? Murphy's gone, Sweat's gone. What are they going to do? All that stuff during the spring. They don't look that good. Like, they do all the transfer stuff and they get all these guys, right? And when they come in, you just look at it now and Broughton's going to be gone next year. Collins is going to be gone next year. They're bringing in Savea. He's gone. They bring in Lole. He's gone. They bring in Norton. He's gone. So behind them, just you can count it on your hand. So you got Sadir Mitchell hanging around. You got Aaron Bryant hanging around. I'm going to leave. You got January hanging around. You got Melvin Hills hanging around. Who am I for? Jerry Bledsoe. 5 scholarship dues. You lose Brandon Brown to LSU. And you say, well, not only is there a little bit of a worry this year, and I'm not sure how big a worry it's going to be this year along the defensive line. That's a whole other conversation. That's a conversation about, how important is depth and can these guys just be a little bit above replacement level? And if they are, and you have the depth, you're probably going to be fine because the defense will find other ways to win. Better edge rush. The pass defense can't be worse. Really, linebackers like Anthony Hill really coming into their own and coming into their prime as college football players. Like the strengths of the defense can change. You don't always have to be a butt kicking, run stopping, mauling up the middle, a first round and a second round pick kind of thing. Or it's even better. Like it's what's that trophy? The Outland Trophy that he won? I forgot what it's called. Sweat. Was it the Outland? Which one is that?
I think
I forgot what it is.
That is the Outland, right? I
but
think that's
basically,
right.
He's called the best defensive lineman in the nation. Then you have one of the first defensive linemen off the board in the NFL draft, and those two guys play on your front. Like that's not always going to be the strength of your defense. But that's neither here nor there. What's more important when we talk about Sharma is just looking forward, right? And saying like, man, is this going to be an issue that has to be repeated every single year with going into the portal to find these defensive tackles? Because as I've said before, and as I've written about, Chad, this, Byron Murphy doesn't ever end up in the portal, right? You have to recruit Byron Murphy out of high school because whenever you see a guy like that and after 1 year, this guy's going in 3, right? This guy's going in 3 years. Those guys don't enter the portal unless there's something wrong with them. Like they don't enter in there unless there's some kind of hiccup on the resume or something didn't work or something, you know what I mean? And so even when these guys are really good and they enter the portal, there is some little inkling that you might have that there's a little bit of an inherent risk here. And especially with all the NIL money you have to spend and the locker room dynamics of that and all the rest of it, you have to be recruiting these defensive linemen, especially, otherwise you're going to end up with these. And look, I think Lole looks like a good player. I think Savea looks fine. I'm not as sure about Norton, but I think what we can all say, they're all kind of, I don't want to say it's like call them any kind of like, I don't think it's like the Island of Misfit Toys or a dented can aisle or something like that, but it does feel like they're, Jermaine Lole is like 25 years old, right? There's like there's just some interesting little peccadillos with each one of them. Do you really have to do this every single year? And getting a guy like Sharma not only helps kind of reinforce what Texas has, but I think more importantly, it shows Texas fans that this staff, whenever they say, look, we got some flips that are coming. We have some things that are happening here in August. I think it shows that they do know what they're doing.
All right. If you want to jump into the Specs chat, feel free. We already got folks piling in there. If you want to get us a super chat, it will go right to the top of the list. I see that Jeff Ketchum is about ready to join the show, so we'll get his thoughts on Sharma as well. Before we do that, let me thank one of our great partners around here. You know what you do, Texas fans, when you get a big-ass D tackle that flips? You might need a bigger screen. And if you need a bigger screen, it's AV Consultations. The bigger screen, the better setup, the man cave you've always wanted. Season's coming. Season's coming quick. You're 36 days away as I'm talking. So maybe they can't get you absolutely set up for game one, but they will get you set up. They'll set you up with the best TVs, the best speakers, the furniture, all of it. Let them handle every detail. They've been doing this since 1988. Locally owned and operated in and around the Austin area. If you go to the Pluckers locations, they set up all those TVs. If you go to Cover 3s around Austin, they set those up too. Give you an idea of the things that they're capable of. That TV inside the mirror in the bathroom at Pluckers. That's AV Consultations. 255-8678. Let them tell you what they can do for you. avconsultations.com. All right. So Alex Dunlap sitting in for Jeff Ketchum. And now, just as I said, Jeff was ready to go. He ducked out. Where did he go? Did he lose internet again? Did they lose internet again at the Woodlands? Right as I was ready to talk to him? Alex, what is going on with this man and his internet lately?
All kinds of ducking out. I told you I got an appliance guy coming over in the house a little while, so I'm gonna have to duck out at some point here, man.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. There he is. There he is. Yeah. All right. Let's go to the T formation with Mr. Ketchum, Jeff Ketchum. Technically on vacation, but he's got some Josiah Sharma thoughts. What's up, Ketch?
What's up, fellas? I mean, the reality was I just realized I wasn't doing anything, so why not just come on for a little bit?
All right. So how good is?
He can't take a vacation to save his life, dude.
I had not mentioned yet that this is a California kid. For those that don't know, Folsom, California, and he's been committed to 3 different schools already. He was committed to Washington at one point, decommitted. Then he was an Oregon commit, and now he flips to Texas. Ketch, what do you think of him?
He's really big. I think that, there's this running joke about Sark liking big humans. And look, I guess it's not a running joke. He literally tweeted that out yesterday as his official response to this. If you look at the top 10 defensive tackles by rivals.com or pretty much any service in the country, there aren't many guys as big as he is. I think Rivals has him as the 12th ranked defensive tackle, he might be the purely biggest guy among those guys that are ranked that high. So he's a big dude. He fits the profile of player prospect that we know Sarkisian wants on both sides of the ball. How good is he? How will he project to the next level? I saw someone on Orange Bloods earlier today mention him as a sure thing. It's like, well, no, there's actually no such thing as that. Even 5-star defensive tackles will miss 4 out of 10 times. There's a lot of reasons for why guys miss. I think about Jovian Toviano this past week and like the mess that he's in. It's like that stuff too. But I think that this is a guy that brings the size component that Texas wants. And if it comes together, this is a guy that's got a chance to be like a multi-year starter type player. But I think it might take a year or two for him to fully get there.
And for both of you guys, definitely at this size, the 6'6", 300, and obviously once you get to college, maybe there's more weight added on in the right way. Definitely a badass D tackle at the college level for you guys. Which of the 2 inside positions maybe fits him best when y'all think about him? Alex?
I'm sorry. I was just looking up what happened with Toviano. That's terrible. God, I didn't see that. Golly. Sorry. What do I see in Sharma as far as that?
In terms of
you can't get that out of your mind. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I was saying in terms of the 2 inside, the 2 typical inside positions at defensive line. Do you see him fitting one better than the other?
No, I think he plays. I think he can play both.
Okay.
He lines up at both as a high schooler, but I think I gave we gave a breakdown on him last night. We hopped on and did a live show right after the commitment, and My main concern with him is something I think is really easy to coach out of him, and that's just the pad level. You watched him earlier today, Chad. If you watch the huddle from the junior season, you see that he played against a lot of teams that would a lot of what they show off in his huddle reel is some of this stuff versus screens and things like that, where it doesn't in which
awareness, usages of his hands and everything. Yeah.
And then just the lateral agility to just like change from like, all right, like I'm penetrating B. Oh, wait, I'm not penetrating B gap anymore. I can pivot. I can cut off this foot and I can use my length because he does have really long arms. Use my length to be able to pursue. So he's a guy with good natural athleticism. If you watch some of the Rivals Camp Series videos of him, you see that he's one of these guys where the natural understanding of leverage, the ability to hand fight, the ability to the ability to uncover and redirect, all these things are really good. The pad level's bad though. The good news is that's something like you get in the shoots and you're going to be fine. Work it like at the college level. He's going to need to present less surface area for sure, and that's a super easy thing to coach. You can't coach the size. You can't coach the first step. I don't think you can coach the natural ability that he has to use his hands and keep offensive linemen off of him.
Ketch, what do you think? Either position on the inside for you?
I think he could play over the nose or play like a 3 technique. I think that he has some definite Tandresweat qualities. I don't want to naturally make that comparison because I don't think he's as athletic naturally as Tandresweat is. I don't think that level of explosiveness exists.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't think so either.
But I mean, I think that he's a guy that's going to be able to potentially play in multiple spots. They'll figure out kind of where they like him. He looks like a guy that he's a sloppy player. I think Alex was kind of getting into this a little bit. He's got room to grow from a technique standpoint. He's like a snowflake on every play. It's never quite the same thing.
Yeah.
There are times when you really like his first step. Then there are times when he looks slow. And that's even on plays where he makes a play. I think the thing I like the most about him is there's an intuitiveness that he has as a player. He's a good football brain. For a big guy to read through data that he's seeing on the field very quickly and to be able to react and get his hands up. And there's a play on his junior film where he snuffs out a screen and grabs an interception. It's like, okay, this isn't just some big oaf who doesn't know how to keep guys off his feet, off his legs, doesn't know what to do with his hands. I mean, he's going to get better at all of that stuff, but I think that there's just a naturally good football player inside of him that I like to see in guys, or it's like that guy has a football brain on his shoulders. And I think that always helps a player. I think, when I say he needs a year or two, I think he needs to develop his body. I think he needs to get coached up a little bit. The Longhorns will have a depth chart that will be inviting for anybody that comes in. If anybody can come in and make a splash, then they're going to be in a position to work their way onto the field in some capacity next season with all the departures that Texas will have to eventually replace. But I don't, he's not a guy that I think about a guy like Trill Carter, and I think about Alex's numbers. I think Trill Carter played 220-something snaps. It was in the 200s. Do I think Josiah Sharma, year one, is ready to play quite even that level of – could he play a Trill Carter role? At this moment, as of today, I'm a little hesitant to say, yeah, I think that guy's going to play a few hundred snaps in a reserve role at defensive tackle. But this is a kid that's really getting bigger he may have grown 10 pounds and an inch since this show started. He's really been going up. He's been getting bigger. I think the guy that he kind of reminds me of, and I mean this as both kind of an ultimate compliment, but also a little bit of a ceiling as to who I think he can be. Kind of reminds me of a young Frank Okam. Now, Frank Okam was ranked as a 5-star when he was a high school prospect, but that was overranking Frank a little bit.
Because the way he looks, right? Just
yeah, he was a big old monster.
Yeah.
He came from a big time program, showed some athleticism, but in the end, the NFL, after Frank Okam played 4 years at Texas, and he was a really good player. This is a guy that helped Texas win a national championship as an interior defensive lineman. I think he won All-America honors. But the NFL looked at him and said, we think you're kind of a 7th-round draft pick. He didn't last in the NFL, but for a couple of seasons. Great college player. Maybe not as athletic as you would like to see. A guy that you think of with real high NFL upside. But I think the fact that we're even having this conversation about even that kind of a profile speaks to a guy whose ceiling in college is a multi-year starter on a top 5, top 10 program. What is he beyond that? We'll see. This is still a guy that might look quite a bit different with really good coaching. I don't know that he's had that in Folsom, which is exactly more times than not. You'd rather have them sloppy and uncoached as opposed to some of the things that we see in the state of Texas, Chad, a lot is that guys are really well coached at the high school level. And I don't want to say they arrived completely tapped out, but that is a word that college coaches will use when they scout high school kids in the state of Texas. Sometimes they're so well coached, you wonder how much better you can make a guy, especially if he's got some limitations athletically. That's not Sharma at all. This isn't a guy who will show up on day one and be like, oh, yeah, this is just like the coaching I had at Folsom. No, it's not quite the same thing as what they'll see at a Denton Ryan or an Allen or just some of the monster programs that we are used to seeing crank out prospects at this level.
Guys, multiple chatters have mentioned the name. They're trying to go this far. I'm guessing the two of you would not go this far. A Sean.
Let's not do that. No.
Sean Rogers?
No.
Come on, man. That's just
checking. Okay, how about
hold on, no, because we didn't let us finish the shot. The chatters sometimes do this, Chad.
Mm-hmm.
You can't pick out like the freakiest of freaks and be like, that's the guy. Like, look, Byron Murphy's going to be that way. We'll see some undersized guys get recruited, and they'll be like 6'1.5", 285. And it'll be, no, he's Byron Murphy. And it's like, no.
Or he's Aaron Donald, or he's Grady Jarrett, or like all these, like, yeah, man. It's like every time you take it to the, it's just be.
I blushed and felt a little like I'm going too far in throwing out Frank Okam's name. I felt like that's a little bit of hyperbole, but I think it kind of fits. And we've just gone too far.
What do you think about my initial comp of? I know it's real recent, but how do you think he compares to Alex January?
I thought that too earlier today. I think he may end up being a little bigger than January, but it's funny you should say that, Alex, because I rewatched Alex. I didn't know you made that comp, but I rewatched Alex January's high school film today. I came away thinking I liked Alex maybe just a smidge better. I think he might just be a little bit more fluid of an athlete, just a smidge. But I think that's actually I think they're way closer alike than they are apart.
Interesting. We got a chat in. By the way, throw us a super chat. It'll go right to the top of the list. We do appreciate that if it happens. Vivek had a question about a couple guys in this class. Is he better than Zion and DJ Sanders? Is it that level of D tackle?
He's probably asking Ketch. I think I would prefer DJ Sanders to Sharma if I had to choose one of the two. Not as clear for me about Zion, but Ketch obviously has the. I guess you don't have Sharma ranked with those guys in the LSR. I don't know.
I think they're. The guy to compare him to is Zion, and I think I like Sharma better as a prospect than I do Zion by a tick. I think Zion is probably whatever athleticism I think that Sharma has or doesn't have. I think it's better than Zion's, and I think he's more of a natural playmaker of football. I think one of my problems with Zion as a prospect, and not everybody feels this way, but he's a little oafish at times, and that doesn't always get off blocks, doesn't always pursue the ball and maybe make as many plays as I think a guy like Sharma does. I mentioned, man, you watch Sharma and you can see that football brain leading himself into plays that he probably doesn't have a right to be involved in. You don't really see that a lot with Zion. If Zion did those things, I would have him ranked higher. DJ Sanders is just a different animal. It's like comparing Sanders. It's like comparing Sweat to Murphy. Like they're just different guys. Sanders is different than Sharma. He's smaller, he's quicker. He's got a burst, a first step, athleticism, like all what you would hope if you're going to be a guy that's under 300 pounds and you're not 6'5". You probably need some of those things in abundance. I think Sharma's floor is higher than Sanders. I feel like with Sharma's size, that's a guy that at worst sticks around for 4 years and has a Stevie Lee type career where he's never quite a starter, but he's always kind of on the 2 deep and useful. DJ Sanders could be a huge hit or a massive bust. So I think he's got a lower floor than Sharma does, although I would probably rank Sanders. Sanders has a little bit of the sexiness in him.
Yeah, he's got a real buttoned upness to his play. Like he's a very solid and good, like you said, really quick, violent. He's the kind of defensive tackle. He's the kind of defensive tackle that I'd like to watch. And
he's got he's got an actual highlight film that'll make you go, oh, okay. Yeah. But I don't think he's special. And guys that aren't special, they're like everybody else. They've got fairly high bust rates. So, I wonder about, I can't wait. I hope Sanders goes to a national all-star game in late December, early January, Chad. I'd like to see him against competition, not Belleville. That I'd just like to see something a little more,
Is Belleville tiny?
No, they're like, I think they're 4A.
Okay.
It's not tiny.
It is the only thing that runs through your head when you're watching that video. You're watching it all. You're checking boxes in your mind, and the one thing you're thinking is how much is the competition factoring into what I'm seeing?
Now that's a team that's competed for state championships, so they're good at their level. Right. But you watch his film and you realize he's probably not played an opposing offensive lineman all season that is on the level. And so it's, he's a constant mismatch, but not in the best ways. Not in that guy at the highest level is still a mismatch. He's a mismatch in that he's just better than all the guys that he's going against. And, that may be too rough. Maybe he's played against a few offensive linemen, but it's like, and look, I thought the same when I watched Jonathan Brooks's film, as an example of a guy who I somewhat questioned because of the competition. Reuben Owens is another. And in the end, Jonathan Brooks adjusted just fine. And the fact that he's basically the only guy from his high school that Texas has ever come close to recruiting and that I can ever remember signing at that level. And he comes from a district that doesn't produce a bunch of guys. And look at him. He was the best running back in the country last year and probably wins a Doak Walker Award if he doesn't get hurt. So sometimes these guys make it, more times than not they don't, but it is one of the few things I think you think about with DJ Sanders. But he's exciting. Alex is exactly right. You watch his film and you can close your eyes and go, oh man, that guy at his best in my mind is one heck of a fun player to watch.
Ketch, while we have you, why don't we take this opportunity, since you and Alex are here, to tell the folks a little bit about Rogue Shop, since I think both of you would have a little knowledge on Rogue Shop. Why don't you tell them about it?
Well, look, anxiety, pain, sleeplessness. Everybody's got, like, none of us are all the same. Some people deal with none of that. Look, maybe you just want to feel good. Maybe you just want to take the edge off a little bit. But maybe you do have some of these other issues. They need to be treated in different ways. Not everything is exactly the same. And one of the things I like about Rogue is they go out of their way to find out what it is that you are looking for, what you need, and they'll try to point you in the right direction. Go to the website, rogueshot.com, or scan that QR code. And very quickly, you'll see a chat that will be available there. More times than not, I think it's Shar that runs the chat. She's fantastic. She'll answer any questions and make sure that you're not just shopping without any idea of what actually might be the thing that you want or need the most. My 85-year-old uncle loves the salve. He puts that on his body. It helps make the pain go away. And now he wonders how for the last 40, 50 years prior, he lived without it as a product. So now I don't use the salve, but I've used it before. I use different things. So again, the thing about Rogue, it's not like there's one product that does everything. There's some very specific stuff going on there, depending upon it's science, depending on what it is that you actually need. They're there to help you. Get it done today. Make your life a little bit better with Rogue Shop.
Yeah. All right. There we go.
And let me just say for the salve too, it's like, as you get a little bit older, right? You start it's really easy to make excuses and let yourself fall apart when you go to the gym and your wrists hurt from doing the weights, or you hike and it makes your ankles hurt and stuff. Like don't let that stuff stop you. I'm telling you, man, my wrists hurt sometimes after that, but I'm out there every single day, and one of the things that helps me the most is that salve. It legit really. I know it sounds wild, but it really works. I mean, it's like that's a true testimonial. I'm not saying it because they're a sponsor. Like you can get yourself some real help.
The thing is, once you find a product that actually works, you'll want to talk about it all the time because it will change the extremes. It's like for people that have a hard time sleeping. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I can take half a gummy or a full gummy and I can make it all the way through the night and wake up and feel like a brand new. Yeah, you can. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Rogue
Shop. Yes, you can.
Check them out. Check them out. All right, Ketch. Anything else you got for us before you try to actually take some time off?
Oh, a couple of quick scatter shots. One, I think yesterday was evidence of that thing that we've been talking about, Chad, for a couple of weeks, where behind the scenes, Texas is not panicking. Sharma was a guy that they felt like they were going to get, and then almost instantly Oregon flashed in front of him. There was a sense that they offered a big NIL deal. I think in the end, these things kind of worked their way. It's also what I said about Decorian Moore, where Texas never had a chance to respond to the Oregon visit that Decorian Moore took. Sharma commits to Oregon kind of in the same fashion, right? Because if you think about it, he visited Oregon after Texas. Then he makes the commitment, and it happened pretty quickly. Texas just got to get guys back on campus. And it's one of those things where it's like, everybody take a deep breath. Texas will tell you, and look, they were able to get that kid kind of under the radar to come in from California, where there's a will, there's a way. And the kid's mom wants him to go to Texas. Got the sense that things kind of evened their way out. Texas had some advantages that I think mom was a big fan of. And then yesterday happens. And I think if you were to privately think about the comments that Sarkisian made at the Texas High School Coaches Association, I think yesterday speaks to what they were talking about. And, probably that we talk about that earned benefit of the doubt. I thought yesterday was an example of kind of what we've been talking about, where it might look one way, but behind the scenes, Texas feels. And I haven't posted this on Orange Blood yet. I had somebody who sent me a text message yesterday. And the reason why I didn't post this is because I'm supposed to be on vacation. He's instead of gloating about the flip, instead of, I don't know, he could have had a million responses. He reached out to me. It wasn't like I reached out to him. His response was, buckle up, buckle up. He swears that we're on the cusp of widespread flipping, that everything that we've seen this summer is a little bit of fool's gold, that a lot of these young men have made commitments on a whim, and they haven't in all cases let schools counter whatever things need. You can counter in a lot of ways, but maybe one of them is potential NIL discussions as well. His response was, I think yesterday's kind of the unofficial starting line of what could be a dizzying finish to the recruiting process. Everybody's got NIL. That's the thing I think Texas fans now need to adjust to a little bit. They want to call out Oregon as the boogeyman. And in reality, no, man, everybody's got their hustle on. And there was a brief window when the Georgias and the Texases and the A&Ms of the world, I think, were ahead of everybody in NIL. I think they mobilized faster. But schools got their shit together now. And look, Michael Terry's going to take an unofficial visit to Nebraska. Now, the three of us on this show might snicker a little bit and go, Nebraska? That kid's not going to Nebraska. Well, his final three are Texas, Oregon, and Nebraska. And if the goal was to get the most NIL money possible, those wouldn't be three bad schools to pit against each other. And so I think in this new NIL world, everybody needs to be prepared for the fact that schools are going to be spending between $10 million on the low end, $20 million just right now on the high end, and that those schools can decide to spend their money any way they want to. We're going to get to a point in this recruiting process this year, is my guess, where an SMU or a TCU or a Baylor or somebody is going to approach a mega prospect, and they're going to say, turn this down. And they may not be spending more money than Oregon or Texas or Ohio State, but they might have. Think about what Texas Tech just did with a softball pitcher.
Wow, I saw that come across my timeline on X, but I could. So they paid they paid a softball pitcher like $1 million or something like that.
That's the word on the street, Chad, Alex.
Yeah.
And Texas Tech has no viable softball program. I think the last time they were even pretty good was back in 2019. But this woman is the Kat Osterman of college softball right now.
Is she like the Caitlin Clark?
She's well,
in
she's
softball, she is.
Right.
Yeah.
She's one of the badass pitchers at Stanford and has been a badass pitcher for, 2 or 3 seasons now.
She makes you a College World Series almost shoe-in. And then it's about, can you beat the elite of the elite of the elite teams? But, like schools are going to have money. Everybody's kind of figured it out. And I think oftentimes when Texas fans think about NIL, they live in this warped little bubble where they don't realize that the way that Texas talks about Oregon is the way 120 other programs talk about Texas. It must blow the minds of a Texas Tech fan or even an Oklahoma fan to hear Texas fans, Oregon's just out there with its NIL money. And it's like, what are you guys talking about? You guys spend a ton of money in NIL. Texas does. And I think that they were able to match the NIL firepower of what Oregon would have been letting Sharma know was available to him should he had and who knows, maybe he still will. Like, I don't think this recruitment is over by any stretch at all. I mean, all that kid's got to do is take one more visit to Oregon and suddenly all bets are off again, I think. So I think everybody just got to buckle up a little bit and realize these times are times that we've probably never lived in. And if the trunk of a car opens up and an alien pops out, you need to be ready for anything. And I think that's going to be the way I would tell people to prepare for recruiting for the next 4 or 5 months or so.
Yeah. And by the way, to Colby in this chat on the softball player, I don't believe she's giving up a Stanford degree for a tech degree. Think of it as a Stanford degree and then finding a 1-year job that pays you $1 million. It's in Lubbock, but I think that's more realistic to what is happening. I don't think they're taking her Stanford degree away.
And no offense to that Stanford degree, but, you know, over $1 million for a year is over $1 million for a year.
Right, exactly. We did get a super chat real quick, fellas. JR, all I care about is Fasusi. Get Fasusi. Screw those annoying Sooners. Fasusi greater than D Moore for JR. Fasusi, by the way, is August 21st is the commitment announcement for Michael Fasusi.
It's gonna be a big 3 days there with Fasusi and Jonah Williams. I believe the 24th.
Yep. So. Williams is now the 24th. Somebody in the chat was asking about Khalil Lockett and Jamie French. Lockett is scheduled to go August 7th, if I'm not mistaken, and French is all the way at the end of the month, August 30th. The thing about
French is that as of today, I think Texas would be the school, but he's visiting Miami for a couple of days back to back. He's visiting LSU a couple of days back to back. That's this weekend. I'm just telling you, if you take the Texas contingent of media that covers Jamie French out of the equation, and then you listen to all of the other media, both nationally and school by school, they will all tell you, ain't nobody got it. Nobody knows where Jamie French is going. Jamie French doesn't know where Jamie French is going. And the thing is, the Jamie French of late July might not agree with the Jamie French of early August or the Jamie French of mid-August or September or October or November. That's going to be a wild recruitment. And whoever he commits to on August 30th probably needs to be prepared for the fact that he may take more visits, that he may want to go visit some games and therefore take some unofficial visits, that he will probably be answering the phone and listening to whatever offers come his way. And so, and I'm telling you, at some point, we're going to have like a Baylor of the world jump into somebody's recruitment and say, hey, man, we'll give you $2 million a year. What do you think? And, you know, it could be the kind of thing that could galvanize a Baylor football program if it was the right player. And it could be the kind of thing where it's like a Texas or an Ohio State or an Oregon might turn around and go, God, we can't do $2 million for the same reasons a lot of times that we've eventually Oregon's going to be in a position where it's like, God, if we pay $2 million, all of our guys are going to want $2 million. So there will be market opportunities, I think, for a college football version of what happened in softball. Somebody comes in and says, you know what? How much would it be? Is it worth to us to maybe buy a Heisman or something? And maybe we'll see this more with proven players than we'll see with prospects. But I think we're in for some interesting things over the course of the next 5-6 months in college football. Things that will make fans go, what the hell? And I think Alex, we're going to have a couple of those moments in college football very similar to what we did with the softball pitcher, where we just see the headline and we go, wait, what? Central Florida? Who's going there? And then, you know, it's going to be like, oh, Central Florida gave some kid $3 million to come play quarterback or whatever the position is. And then we're going to go, okay, so that's what's what. And I don't think we're far away from that.
Yeah, there's some talk in the chat. I guess you brought up Baylor, and they're talking about Taz Williams and Cam Morgan and stuff like that. And I mean, it's like they're just coming out and saying it now. The SEC media days are talking about the salary, dude. The whole salary cap thing, that'll have a big effect on this. But I mean, they asked Dave.
There won't ever really be a salary cap. They can't.
Well, I mean, the coaches are talking like they're playing. Like, well, that's
coaches don't know what the fuck they're talking
about. Well, all right. Well,
because look, where there will be a salary cap is on the amount of money that schools can directly pay players. So that is connected to the lawsuit that just got settled, and that may be the language of that may be official as early as a few days from now. And in that, you'll see schools placed on probably there will be some sort of limit. But with NIL, there can't be a limit. You just can't. So there will be a set of money that the school dishes out.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But the collectives of the world, or, forget about collectives, the Phil Knights of the world, if that guy wants to keep giving, if that guy just decides, here's a $100, go spend my $100 million over a season, 2 seasons. You guys let me know when you need more, but there should never be a need for us to need better players. You have my money to go get it. There will never be a salary cap on that because of antitrust rules. So, and the last thing the NCAA wants is to go to court again. They've had their fill of court. They never win. The NCAA is like over when it comes to these court cases. So, Alex, you're not wrong. The coaches are talking about a salary cap because there's a sense that for some schools, they're going to bundle everything into a $20-25 million a year package where all of the money is in one kitty.
Mm-hmm.
But, Ohio State's already spending almost $25 million a year. So do you think Ohio State and the boosters for Ohio State who are already eager enough to have them spending at this level without the school contributing any money, they're not just going to be like, okay, boys, well, there's a salary cap. No, they're going to be like, whoa, we have an edge. The NCAA just legally took away our edge. Well, they can't do anything about this or they'll be in court. So what we're really talking about, guys, is in very short time, 3 years. That's my prediction. We'll be talking about college football teams being put together on a scale of $50-60 million a year.
Big business.
Dang,
golly,
that's
it's
unreal.
big business.
Hey, Alex, I know you need to roll for something around 1:00 here. So any other thought? And Ketch, I'm going to commandeer you for buy or sell. I've just made that decision.
You made an executive decision?
If you're going to hang this long, you're going to hang for that too. Because there's a big birthday I got to get your thoughts on.
Then Alex, you go. Get the hell out of here.
Alex, I already put in my buy or sell questions, Ketch, in the caption. So if you don't want to make them up, you can use some of the ones that I put in here.
There you go.
I definitely want to, because on my way to drop my son off at this thing, I'll definitely want to hear Chad's answer about my Motorhead question.
Well, why don't you do your buy or sell questions real quick?
I'm gonna say if you want to squeeze them in real quick, Alex, and then run. That's
and
cool.
Then I'll take Chad's.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So how about this one? Okay. Buy or sell.
Mm-hmm.
Josiah Sharma committing to Texas should show the fans that the staff knows what it's doing and not to panic about recruiting because more similar flips are coming.
Yeah, I mean, that feels like a buy to me. It's, we've been talking about in Sark we trust. Ketch just laid it all out there too. The flips used to be a big deal. Flips used to be so unique. It's not anymore. Somebody had a great chat. If you're trying to get leverage, an early commitment that ultimately gets flipped, it's not a bad way to go. If you think about it, it does give you a little bit of leverage.
It absolutely gives you leverage.
Yeah, it's an interesting plan. So yeah, I'm buying that.
Okay, I'm wearing my 10 Club shirt today. My Pearl Jam 10 Club shirt.
Nice.
I know you were at that concert at Moody. Buy or sell? That was the best concert that you've been to at Moody.
Whoo, that's interesting. I have seen some badass shows at Moody. Janet
Jackson performing this weekend.
Who's that?
Janet Jackson.
Janet. Okay. Man, Alex, it was an incredible show. I will sell in terms of, was it for me the best concert personally that I've seen at Moody? I'll say no on that. But
What was
Pearl
the
Jam
best?
was excellent. For me, the Chris Stapleton show was probably a little bit better than that. And also
It's a pretty famous show.
Yeah, I mean, that was legendary. And then again, just for my personal tastes, like I'm a big Hozier fan, and my daughter and I went and saw Hozier, and it was out of this world.
He's a very talented guy.
That man's talent, that is as talented a person, I think, as I've ever seen on a stage. But let me tell you, Eddie Vedder is one of the most effortless rock stars I have ever seen. Eddie does not try to be a rock star. He does not make effort to be a rock star. He's just a rock star. And Pearl Jam was excellent. I would recommend them to anyone if you have not seen them yet. I'm really glad I scratched them off the list.
Okay, so this is the third one, right?
Yeah.
Buy or sell, Georgia football has a culture problem.
That's interesting.
Another arrest today.
Three
guys for racing. Three guys.
Did the
for
Hurricanes
racing.
of the '80s and the Sooners of the '80s have a culture problem?
Oh man,
probably like 10 arrests since February of 2023, something like that.
It feels like there is I guess I'll say it's kind of a lowercase b by. I guess by definition, there's a bit of a by there, but it's about how you would define like culture problem, how it affects the team. Obviously, it doesn't seem to affect too much of the football side, but there is something going on there. So I'll buy it.
Okay, this should be an easy one.
Mm-hmm.
I think is buy or sell that Texas is the toughest game on A&M's 2024 schedule.
Let me just think it
through. I looked at it.
Quick.
Maybe Notre Dame you could consider. Maybe LSU. I don't know.
That's a buy. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of another one. A&M avoids Bama, Georgia, and Ole Miss this year.
The Missouri games in College Station.
Missouri's at home, right? They get Missouri coming in. Texas is obviously coming to them as well. So, yeah, I mean, but it's a buy. For everything that game will be, build up a season. We're all assuming that those are not two 4-win teams that face each other in November. Texas is going to be damn good this year, and it's probably the best that A&M will see. Yeah.
Okay, and so listen, I know I'm not the biggest Motorhead fan, so I hope I got this.
It's a hotter than involving Motorhead.
I hope not. Lemmy's going to lose that one.
Okay, so I think that this is right. All right, so buy or sell. So No Sleep Till Hammersmith is unquestionably Motorhead's best album, but March or Die is the most underrated.
Oh, I like it. I like both references too. No Sleep Till Hammersmith, unquestionably their best album. March or Die is the most
unquestionably is a rather emphatic word.
Yeah, unquestionably. Yeah, that's tough. No Sleep Till Hammersmith is awesome. And if I'm not mistaken, that is the famous live record that they really hit with. I think that's right. So I will.
You're gonna have to sell if you don't actually know.
Yeah, I would have to sell because, and also to me, if you'd asked me what Motorhead's best album was, there's some stuff I'd put above No Sleep Till Hammersmith. So I got to sell that part. March or Die is the most underrated. Is that part I'm buying? I love that record, Alex.
You have Slash playing on that thing. It
is about as good as Motorhead was in terms. That's about as sort of critically acclaimed, but also as known as they were when they started to kind of cross over. The duet with Slash is awesome. Ozzy.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
Right? Yeah. Slash plays the solo, but Ozzy and Lemmy do that duet. There's some great songs, and they cover Cat Scratch Fever by Ted Nugent on that album, and I think it's better than the original. But I am a Motorhead mark. So yes, buy on the March or Die part. Kids, go listen to March or Die. It's excellent.
Good. Yeah, all right.
It's incredible.
Boys. All right. I'm gonna take my son to his camp, but I appreciate you having me on, man. I will talk to you,
Alex.
Have a great weekend, Alex.
That is Alex Dunlap. And since, as we mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show, you've got the expanded schedule coming next week, and that will include not only us here at noon, but you got Alex and Cody and the Football with Friends crew at 6:00. Again, it's not a wrestling organization. It is a fun as hell football show, down and dirty, all the great football stuff you want. every day at 6 o'clock starting next week. All right, Mr. Ketchum. We also had some, hang on, before we get to buy or sell, we had some other chats coming in, and I think a super chat creeped in. Where was it? Right. Oh, a couple super chats creeping in. I'll just put this one up when Alex had to run, but $2. Alex, what's the band? Carcass Meth. I don't know. I'm not sure what that is, Jay, but thank you for the $2. I like the name Carcass Meth. That is a good name for a band. Another super chat, $1.99. Isn't that what happened with Micah Hudson and Tech? I'm guessing. Talking about the NIL and all that stuff, Ketch?
I mean, I think Micah Hudson got paid. Micah Hudson didn't pick Tech because of NIL. Micah Hudson picked Tech because he wanted to go to NIL. It's a legacy school for him, and they made sure that nobody was going to beat them in NIL. So, no, it's not exactly what happened. Or I wouldn't put that in the category exact. I don't want to use a word that he didn't use. No, it's not quite the same. I'm talking about somebody coming, like, I wish I knew the Stanford softball pitcher's name.
Yeah, it was a Canaday is her name, right?
If I'd been that far, I would butcher the name and say it. I literally don't know her name. I know her because I saw her pitch. I'm talking about a situation like that. That young woman wouldn't give Texas Tech the time of day ordinarily, except they're offering her a record sum of NIL money. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about we're going to get to December, and it's going to be like, wait a minute, Arch Manning's going to Alabama Birmingham? Like, how'd that happen? And it's going to be like, oh, they decided to just give him $20 million.
Hey, if you're going to throw an example out, don't go throwing examples like that out. Like, come on. Texas Friday, Texas fans just got to flip. They don't need to be hearing that kind of stuff.
Alabama Birmingham.
You did. By the way, Najari Canady is her name. Canady is the softball player's name. Thank you, Matthew, for that.
I just call her badass.
Ketch, let's go. Let's do a little rapid fire on recruiting if you want, because different names just got mentioned. You got people excited about different players. Harish wants to know Texas, DJ Sanders. Any thoughts at this point?
I mean, I think Texas would be where I would put my money at this point, but that kid keeps a really low profile. He doesn't tell anybody anything. I think that could happen soon, but it wouldn't shock me. The thing that you need to know about Sanders is I don't think he'll want recruiting to be – he didn't allow recruiting to be a distraction last year when he was a junior and they were going for a state championship. He wasn't taking unofficial visits left and right. He really didn't get into recruiting as early as other guys did. So I think that he may be an exception to the rule this year, and that maybe if he announces in late August where he's going to go, he wouldn't change his mind. Because I fully believe that once that kid starts his senior season, if we're to look at last year as an example, I don't think he's going to do a lot of recruitment stuff.
Gotcha.
Maybe I wouldn't say it's a lock, but maybe you're looking for the key.
So you talked about both Lockett and French earlier. We mentioned Lockett's going on August 7th for his commitment announcement. French will be the 30th. You talked about both of those. Multiple people, Catch, heard you talk about talking to a source and them saying buckle up. And multiple people are asking you, does buckle up, could it include DeCorian Moore and Riley Pettyjohn?
I think it was included everybody. Like, the buckle up wasn't about a recruitment. The buckle up was about, look, what if Ohio State comes back at DeCorian Moore and says $2 million? Like, I think anything is possible. And I think that both ways. I think that you're sitting here thinking, well, Texas want to go in on a Riley Pettyjohn. Maybe somebody decides they want to go in on KJ Lacey, or what happens if Auburn comes to KJ Lacey late? Because let's say KJ Lacey wins another state championship or something like that, and Someone's like, we'll pay you $2 million, 1.5, something that's staggeringly different than I think what they would currently be in line for. And I think it's a game changer. So I think my source yesterday was talking about the entire sport.
Gotcha. All right, there you go. For those of you that were wondering about that, we got a super chat thrown in. Oh, this is too tough, Jefferson. Bravo. $4.99, buy or sell. You'd go to a Motorhead show if you could over a Metallica show in their prime. You guys kick ass. It's just a weird when you're setting up here. So, Jefferson, you're saying Motorhead might not be in their prime, but I'm going to a Motorhead show. So we're going back in time.
It's any Motorhead show from beginning to end.
Right.
You have no real clue at where you're going to land on the calendar to see that show. Whereas you're getting Metallica,
right,
the best they've ever been. Like you're at that Russian concert.
Yeah, the Metallica in their prime is interesting because you could go back to either you could go to the Ride the Lightning era, you could go to Puppets, you could, if you think the Black Album era is the best because then you get everything that goes before it.
You wouldn't want to go to that concert in Moscow?
What's that one?
The one that they did in like the Soviet Union.
Where
there's like 1 million people showed up.
Right, the Peace Festival. That's a badass show.
I mean, imagine the Russian hotties that were just looking to have sex with Americans that day.
Yeah,
you true. Might a single, not married version of Chad might come home with a mail order bride.
That is true. That is true. There is no wrong answer here, Jefferson. But since Alex got me in a Motorhead mood, I'll still I'll take Motorhead. I'll
I'm taking the Metallica show for everything that comes with it.
There you go. Yes, you're going to get a better overall experience. I'm going to get to see Lemmy one more time. So I'll take either way. I'll take either one. Both those bands are incredible live in their primes. All right. Let's see. I think that was all.
Uh-oh.
I'll let you go. You're going to roll through. Wait, hold on. Was that my connection out? Do you hear me? Hello?
I hear you. Do you hear me?
Good. Okay, I hear you. All right. I just saw something flash on my screen. I just want to make sure. Quick buy or sell, and then I'll let you go.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Here we go. The buy or sells that maybe were intended for Alex, but I think they will work. Actually, this first one specifically works for you. Buy or sell number 1, Josiah Sharma, super blue chip and maybe a 5-star by signing day.
Sell. Nah.
Okay. Buy or sell number 2, you have plans to see Deadpool and Wolverine in the theater.
Sell. I'll probably see it in the theater, but I don't have plans.
Fair enough. For the record, A plus, excellent.
You saw it.
It was fantastic. And that trilogy I will put up in the Iron Man, Guardians of the Galaxy kind of realm. It was phenomenal.
What's it rated?
Oh, it's rated R, and they lean
Deadpool. Okay,
and they lean hard into the
hard R. Oh,
God. It's a hard R, yeah. Which I was excited about because part 1 really did that. Part 2 they backed off a little bit because of the whole we're going to make a PG-13 Christmas edition, which pissed me off. They went back to the original way here, and they really leaned into the R rating. It was really good. Okay. All right, Catch. Buy or sell number 3. It's that time of year. The winner of the NFC East will be the Dallas Cowboys. Buy or sell?
Sell.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Eagles, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be Philly, probably. All right, Catch. Big birthday today. Buy or sell number 4, Mick Jagger, 81 years old. Rock and roll frontman, Mount Rushmore, one of the first 2 spots.
Buy. Has to be.
Yeah. I can't think of 2 guys I'd put above Mick.
You could, but you'd be wrong.
Right. I can think of one guy that I'd say is on his level, and it's probably Robert Plant. But I can't think of anybody I'd put above Mick in that discussion.
The thing is, if you were going prime on prime, yes. But that's not what this is.
Right.
This is the totality, right?
True.
Because like prime on prime, I could even go with a Prince and the Revolution.
Right.
at their peak,
Sure.
I think I'd rather watch Prince, or I think, but Mick Jagger, the totality of his career is just, you can't, he has to be in the top 2.
Yep, I would agree. All right, and finally, Ketch, get ready to feel a little bit old, but man, she is still looking damn good. Buy or sell number 5, Sandra Bullock is 60 today.
Oh, no.
Right now, she's hotter than Nicole Kidman.
Sell.
See, I'm buying that. I'll go Sandy Bullock all day on that one.
I need to see. No, you're not putting enough respect on Nicole Kidman's name.
Look, Kidman recovered from Plastic Land pretty well, but it's still there were still some tough times. Sandy Bullock, well, Ocean's 8, Sandy Bullock, I think she's still looking great. So I'm gonna go Sandra Bullock.
I love Sandra Bullock, but Nicole Kidman is just a tall drink of water. That I think if Sandy were on the show right now, she would say, "Chad, thank you, I appreciate that."
But you're wrong.
Talking about Nicole Kidman.
That's fair. That is fair. Happy birthday to Sandra Bullock.
Tell you, if you're asking me who I would rather hang out with,
it's Bullock all day.
Yeah. Like there's a coolness factor to, Nicole Kidman. You know what you did? Kidman could have been a Bond girl if she wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Like
she ends up being too big for that. But Nicole Kidman could have been a Bond girl. Whereas I don't think Sandra Bullock would say, "Oh no, they asked me to do the Daniel Craig movie, but I passed."
Yeah,
that's not what happened.
That is fair. All right, there you go. There's buy or sell. Ketch, go take some time, have a good weekend, and I will talk to you maybe on Wednesday, which was the plan, or maybe before. Who knows?
It's not going to be before, unless Texas gets commitment, and I'm just sitting around not doing a goddamn thing. And
hey, my plan is to reach out to Jason Sukumel and see if he can come on with me on Monday.
You did not reach out to me. I sent you the message.
Exactly. You reached out to me, and I wasn't going to say no. So as long as you leave it alone.
Now my kids have been waiting over a half hour for me.
Oh, come on,
we're going to get a piece to fix Hendrix's train set.
Well, okay.
Because I bought him one for Christmas like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, but we haven't worked it in a while, and now we're missing a piece. We're going to go get the piece.
Okay.
Run some trains.
Go be a dad. Hang with the kids. I'll talk to you on Wednesday when practice starts, and I'll pay a bill or two and then get out here. Go be dad. Go do it. It's Jeff Ketchum, ladies and gentlemen. My God, he's got his kids waiting. That's how dedicated Jeff Ketchum is. All right. Thank you to everybody for jumping in the chat today. I think we might have another super chat here. Oh, man. Hang on. Let's see what we got here. Jay is trying to program the old OBL here. $5. Ketch, can we get a behind enemy line show this fall where Billy comes on every 3 or 4 weeks and we talk about where each program is? Jay, I think that's kind of, in a way, I guess that's what we did last year. Although around the time of the Jimbo thing, I want to say we kind of left Billy alone for a little while, but I think that's a possibility, especially with the game coming up. We're going to talk to Billy Lucci a couple times. We love having him on the show. If you haven't seen that show from SEC Media Days, it's got between 6,000 and 7,000 views right now. Thanks to everybody for helping that one along. And thank you, Jay, for the $5 super chat. Yes, we'll get Billy on as the season goes by. Huge games for both sides of the house divided so early on. A&M with the Notre Dame game week 1. Then you turn right back around and go Texas at the Big House in week 2. It is going to be good. And you know what, Oscar? Thank you. Thank you. Sandy B is the answer. We can't be bad-mouthing Sandra Bullock. 60 years old. That doesn't make me feel old at all. Man, Sandra Bullock. She's awesome, though. All right. If you want to throw a super chat in real quick, I will get to that. Couple of bills we need to pay. Go ahead. Let's give Specs their love. It's the Specs chat. Here's Lisa. You're headed into the weekend. Remember, can't go in there on Sunday. Might as well go now.
Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
So I mentioned this week I went to Specs, got me some peanut butter and jelly whiskey. It's frighteningly good. It was surprisingly good. Wasn't planning on liking it, and I really do. I got some beer while I was there. If you're into the whiskey, if you're into beer, vodka, it's where I get Deep Eddy vodka when I need my latest bottle, need a new bottle of Deep Eddy. I mean, all of it, the tequilas, the craft beer, this food. She talked about that as well. You saw the great food on the shelf. Get all stocked up at Specs for whatever you've got coming up. And before I get out of here, let's talk a little Hays City Store. I can't go to Hays City Store this weekend. That is sad. But I got things to do. I'm headed back out to West Texas-ish, headed back out to Cisco, helping my dad with something. So on Monday, you'll see me with the model ship and, as Ketch calls it, Indiana Jones background starting on Monday. But all of you can go to Hays City Store. Since I won't be there, there's a table open ready for you. Get your reservation. That's always a good way to do it because they can get kind of busy at times. But man, it's fantastic. Hays City Store, just some of the best food, drink, details, anything you could think of that you've ever had. Let me tell you about a detail. So my mother is in love with like a certain kind of chip. There's a chip from this place. I can't remember if it was either in Waxahachie or it was in the Dallas area or whatever. And she loves it. I think Hays City Store's chips are better. I don't know if she'd quite agree with me on that today, but they're fantastic. Those kind of chips where you could just eat 3 baskets and not even think about it. It's phenomenal. The salsa's great. The queso is all my daughter wants to talk about when we go to Hays City. The guacamole is fresh and it is perfect. They have something called the home run dip. That's how you start it. You get everything I just mentioned. The salsa, the queso, the guac, and oh, by the way, the bean dip. Oh my God. Incredible bean dip. Not like bean dip at a gas station not that wasn't good bean dip. I used to do that all the time. But this bean dip is out of this world. Just one of the many details they're great at. 40 draft beers. There's always great stuff. If you like great craft beer from around the state of Texas, get on out there, sit in that beautiful ice house, enjoy some great hill country weather. We're getting some decent weather the last couple of days in the 80s and like 70s in the morning and stuff. Check the weather and then get on out there to Hays City Store. They're right there between Kyle and Wimberley. Follow them at Hays City Store on Facebook and you'll find out about specials and everything that's coming up and the live music and all that. Shout out to Travis and Tamra and the crew at Hays City Store. They are one of our favorites. Let me double check for some super chats before I get out of here. There was a $5, but I think we got that. We got the Motorhead Metallica. That was a tough one. That was a very tough one. Very, very tough one. All right. I think that is going to do it for this Friday show. Again, Josiah Sharma is the flip for Texas yesterday. I watched that video. I'm impressed. 6'6", 300. That, again, they don't grow on trees. Good player. And now, Texas fans, you feel like a little momentum. It's all it took. Just a little momentum. Ketch has been telling you not to freak out. It just takes 1 or 2 guys. The recruiting class for Texas now jumps up to like 17, according to the Rivals rankings. So you're in the top 20 now. You got 11 4-stars. You just added 3 of them. And 11 4-stars is comparable to Penn State's got that many. Clemson's got that many right now. Who else did I look at that's got that many? Oregon. Oregon's also got 11. Ironically, the school you just flipped this guy from now is left with 11 4-stars. And then he, of course, joins the Texas group. Keep the dates in mind. August 7th, that's Khalil Lockett. And you hear Ketch say today, and Ketch and others have said, hey, looking pretty good for Texas. Then August 21st is Fasusi. The 24th is now Jonah Williams. If you missed the Jonah Williams show earlier today, updated information on Jonah Williams. Anwar and Alex had that for you in the old-fashioned. Today, if you missed the little detail yesterday, Jonah Williams, after coming in for the pool party, he says he's got a top 3, and Texas is in it. There are those that believe it might be Texas, LSU, and A&M, and then maybe Oregon's in there as well. I think Oregon might be that 4th team. So keep an eye on Jonah Williams on the 24th, and then Jamie French is August 30th. So feels like that momentum thing might be turning a little bit. Mark is wishing me I had to have a good weekend. Thank you, Mark. you have a good weekend as well. Everybody stay safe and check out all the content we've had for you this week. There's been some really good stuff. Again, as the pool party was going on, the video when the guys jumped on last night, when Sharma flipped, Anwar, I believe it was Anwar, Alex, and Cody all jumped on and gave you that immediate analysis. Then you got the Jonah Williams show today. Then you heard Ketch and Alex breaking down Sharma again on this show today. A lot going on with Orange Bloods Live. Thank you for liking and subscribing and getting your notifications. We do appreciate it. And until Monday at high noon, when I will be in beautiful Cisco, Texas, we are house divided. Everybody have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves and enjoy the start of the Olympics.